So many different times in my life, I've played with broken or hurt things, broken foot, broken leg, broken hand, broken arm, broken sternum, broken collarbone. I could keep going if I just thought more about bones. Why, man? Because I loved it. I loved playing the game. I was passionate about it. One of the reasons I even get encouraged at seeing all of you here, do you know why I get encouraged by that? Is because you could be anywhere doing a lot of different things, but you chose to be here.
Some shows don't need a celebrity narrator to introduce the show, but this show does. In a world filled with endless opportunities, why would two men who have built 13 multi-million-dollar businesses altruistically invest 5 hours per day to teach you the best practice business systems and moves that you can use? Because they believe in you. And they have a lot of time on their hands. They started from the bottom, now they're here. It's the Thrivetime show starring the former U.S. Small Business Administration's Entrepreneur of the Year, Clay Clark, and the entrepreneur trapped inside an optometrist's body, Dr. Robert Zuttner. 2 men, 8 kids, co-created by 2 different women, 13 multi-million-dollar businesses.
We started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, now we here.
Mr. Clyde started from the bottom, and now we're at the top, teaching you the systems to get what we got. Colton Dixon's on the hooks, I break down the books. Z's bringing some wisdom and the good looks. As the father of 5, that's why I'm alive. So if you see my wife and kids, please tell them hi. It's the CNC up on your radio, and now 3, 2, 1, here we go.
We started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, and we'll show you how to get here. Started from the bottom, now we here. We started from the bottom, now we here. Now we here.
David, I appreciate you letting me harass you, my friend. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm very excited to be here in Seattle and in Bellevue specifically. But before we get going about this idea of how do I value my business, I have a question I think the thrivers all around the world want to know. Is the food at the Space Needle any good? I mean, as a Seattle resident, as you are here, it's just objectively, I guess, or subjectively, is the food at the Space Needle any good?
So I've been to the Space Needle one time. It's okay. It's okay. I think it's more of a tourist trap. I mean, people go there because they get to spin in a circle once an hour. I wouldn't say it's fantastic, though.
Okay. Well, that's fair enough. But we should still go up there to maybe check out the view, maybe.
I would, for sure.
Okay. Now, I want to ask this because you are actually an active angel investor. There's a lot of books and articles about angel investors, and they become kind of mythological, but we've caught one in action. That's you.
Yeah.
And so, how do you actually value a business pre-revenue? Like before there's any money coming in, probably when there's a lot of money going out, how do you pre-value a business?
Yeah. Typically, you lick your thumb and throw it into the wind. Candidly, there's really no formula for it. I mean, at the end of the day, you're betting on someone's ability to be successful. So as an angel investor, what you're looking for is, do they have the right team? Do you think the industry is strong? Do they have a great value proposition, a history of success, all of those things?
So let me just kind of rehash these and make sure we're on the same page. You're looking for a great team. You're saying, does this guy or gal have a good team? Are they in an industry that makes sense? Do they have a value proposition that makes sense? And then do they have a good history? So let's talk about the team just for a second.
Yep.
What do you look for? Let's just say that I came in today and I've got this idea for this new widget that I believe is going to change the way that people work. When you say a good team, what are you looking for?
Well, so my belief is that you build a business around a great entrepreneur, right? And all of us have strengths, all of us have weaknesses. So the question is, have they built a team that allows them to play to their strengths, and then also has a team that supplements where they're maybe not so strong?
Okay.
So that's one thing. The second thing is, we want to make sure that they're strategic. So you can have the greatest widget in the world, but do you have the right strategy to go to market with? The team itself also needs to be resilient, because the one thing that I know for sure is that once you write a business plan, it's wrong. So we want to make sure that they have the intelligence and the resilience to see that plan through, because it is going to evolve over time.
Once you write the plan, it's wrong.
Yep.
It just changes, right? I mean, things just, you can't predict the future exactly, right? You've got to have that resilient team.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's one of the mistakes that a lot of entrepreneurs make is they write this business plan and they think of it as a document that isn't concrete. So they write the plan and then they put it up on the shelf and then they just execute to the plan. The reality is, once you build a business plan, you go out to the marketplace to validate all those assumptions that you originally made, and inevitably some of them are going to be wrong. And you have to be flexible, you have to evolve. A business plan is a fluid document, not a concrete document.
Okay, fluid, not concrete. Now I want to ask you about this industry thing. I mean, if somebody comes in and says, I've got this idea for this widget, and how do you know if their industries, if they're just out of their mind and their industry doesn't make sense, or how do you know that the industry is a good industry? What do you mean by that?
Well, so as an angel investor, one of the things that I'm not terribly interested in is creating a market, because that's super expensive. It takes a tremendous amount of branding. So I want to find people that are interested in new innovations inside of an industry where there's already a track record of exciting growth, where we know that the market opportunity is large enough. If I have the greatest widget in the world, but only 2,000 people in the entire country want that, that may not be an interesting opportunity.
Yeah.
But for someone like myself, we know that about 50,000 SBA transactions happen a year.
50,000.
50,000. So if that's the case, then that tells me I have a tremendous opportunity to go out to the marketplace with financing tools.
Now, what about the history aspect of it? Like when you talk about a guy or gal and their history, are you looking to see, where they went to school or where they're from, or if they've had a couple jobs in a row that didn't work out, or what are you kind of looking for?
Some of all parts, right? So
Okay.
Certainly if they've got a great education, that's one thing. I don't necessarily put a lot of stock in the fact that they have a degree in a certain area, but more or less, somebody that has a network of people that is around smart people. One of the things that we look at is how successful they've been in some of the jobs that they've played. Some of them are executives who have led large departments or business units, but not necessarily gone out on their own. Mm-hmm. Another could be, someone this is not their first entrepreneurial venture. They've done it before. They've shown that they can take an interesting idea, take it to market, and create value.
I just want to say that I really appreciate that you're sharing these 4 different areas, because I know that the tenacity aspect of it, I know when I started my first business, I had no idea how hard it was going to be. And I remember getting to work at 3 in the morning, like today it's dark outside, you get to work, it's dark, you leave, it's dark, and you're going, man, I didn't know it was this hard. I thought and it's that the whole resiliency thing is a huge part of it. Isn't in your mind, so you're betting on that entrepreneur. That's what you're doing.
Absolutely. At the end of the day, if it's pre-revenue, the only thing that's for certain, hopefully, is that the team that's in place will be there through the end. And that's what you're betting on.
Now, I want to move on now to if I'm somebody who's looking to buy an existing business. So let's say that I am watching this right now and I'm looking to buy a business, or I'm looking to I'm looking to sell my business. How do you begin to value an existing business?
Yeah, so I think you look at it a lot like real estate, right? I love to use real estate as a term because while not a ton of people have been entrepreneurs, most people have bought a home, or a lot of people have, right?
Okay.
So the way that you value a piece of real estate is you talk to somebody who is a professional in that area, and you ask them to run comparative market analysis, right? Like, what do homes like this sell for within a mile radius? And use that as a way to benchmark, am I buying this at a good value? And the same thing happens inside of a small business. Now, technically, fair market value under the Internal Revenue Code is when 2 people with adverse economic interests are negotiating a transactions and independently come to a value together. Okay? So technically, the value of the business is whatever you and I as a buyer and seller decide is the value.
Okay.
But the reality is you still want to understand what the market bears.
So let me see if I can provide an example, make sure I'm getting it here. So let's say that I have a restaurant, and my restaurant's doing about $2 million a year of gross revenue. It's kind of a smaller restaurant. Things are starting to take off. Mm-hmm. Somebody comes in and makes me an offer and says, I want to buy it for X. It would be wise, if I'm the business owner, to find another restaurant or restaurants that are doing about $2 million of revenue in maybe a similar geographical area and kind of go, what are these guys worth? What am I worth? that kind of thing? Is that what I want to do?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the idea is to see what other businesses or other like businesses are selling for in that area and why they got the valuation they did. So, for example, some businesses people would value more based on cash flow. How profitable is it, right? And maybe they would give them a value based on a multiple of that number.
Okay.
Other businesses, they may say, you know what, it's not as important that they're profitable, but that they're growing at a high clip. So someone that's growing at 25, 30% per year may get a higher valuation than an individual business that's growing at 5% per year.
Makes sense.
So there are other variables there. So at the end of the day, the most important thing that you can do as an entrepreneur or a prospective entrepreneur, if you're buying an existing business, is to have a team of people in place that can help you determine the optimum value to buy that business at.
Do you want an accountant to help you with this, or who's your team? Who should you have as your team here?
Yeah, so I would think you'd want an attorney with business transaction experience.
Okay.
You'd want a CPA, a professional that deals primarily with businesses.
Yeah.
And then definitely a business broker.
Okay.
You know, someone that is working with businesses all over that area, helping them to buy and sell.
Little ABC action: attorney, broker, CPA.
It wasn't intended that way, but it worked out just fine.
Beautiful. I know. Now, the next question I want to ask is that you obviously fund a lot of business owners. You help business owners become successful by providing them the capital they need to do it appropriately. And I think that I might have this great valuation in my mind of what my business is worth, and there might be a super motivated guy who wants to buy it, but ultimately, if we can't get the funding to purchase it at that price, it's not going to happen. So, how do lenders value a business? I mean, as a lender, let's say that somebody wants to buy my business for $2 million. How do you, as a lender, determine how much money you can lend or how much money is available for the purchase of this kind of thing?
Yeah, so just for clarification's sake, we are not a direct lender. We work with capital sources, but those capital sources typically aren't going to value the business directly themselves. Instead, what they're going to look at is, do the financial assumptions and the financial wherewithal of the borrower meet the opportunity? Okay, so a lot of times our business owners, especially with an existing business, are going to get a business valuation, and so that makes it very simple. The lenders typically are not going to refute the valuation as long as it's coming from a lender where they have the ability to be objective. But at the end of the day, what they're underwriting is, do they believe that this business and this entrepreneur can support the debt load that they're about to take on?
Okay, that's what it comes down to at the end of the day.
Yep.
Now, is it a good idea to have the business evaluated annually, to have a valuation done annually? I mean, is it a good idea as a business owner to do this? Yeah,
so there are a couple ways you can do it. I'm a big fan of understanding the value of your business, right? Because as entrepreneurs, what we're trying to do is build enterprise value. There are a couple ways that you can do that. You could go out and pay for a formal business valuation. That's going to cost somebody anywhere between $750 to $5,000 annually. That may or may not be an expense that's worthwhile for an individual. But one thing that someone can do is go out to the marketplace and talk to their broker, the person that helped them get into that business, and have them run a comparative market analysis on their business for that year based on some of the information that they have. And that can start to give them over time trends about whether they're building value in the business or not.
This makes a lot of sense. I feel like that the whole comp idea, it's somewhat genius in how simple it seems. I think I think a lot of times as business owners we get so overwhelmed with, oh my gosh, this might affect my value, or this might affect my value, or I feel this way, or I feel that way, but really just having comps is probably the most pragmatic way to.
Yeah, if your concern is about, what's the value of my business? Because again, the reason people go into business is different, right? You may be going into business because you want to build a big business with large enterprise value. I may be going into business because I want to provide a nice cash flow for me and my family. So the reasons we're in it may be different. But if enterprise value is the focus, then keeping a pulse on where that is and how your business is evolving and how that's affecting that enterprise value is important. So in a comparative market analysis, if your broker came back to you and said, hey, look, here's A, B, and C companies that sold in the last year that are within this geographic territory, and this one sold for this number, and here's the reason why, and this one sold for this number, and here's the reason why, you may start to see, well, shoot, the way that I'm starting to build my business is more consistent with the lower valuation. There may be some ways that I can start to modify my strategy to help build more value long term.
And I know that you are not a direct lender, as we were clarifying there, but you guys definitely help connect the business owner to the financial solutions they need there. Or how many transactions have you guys done, or is that even something you would share?
Oh yeah, we don't mind sharing. So we, at this point, have helped about 10,000 entrepreneurs across the country to deploy about $4 billion into small business.
10,000. 4 billion.
Yep.
Okay, so with 10,000, I mean, there's a lot of people out there who are creating jobs because of the financial tools you've been able to help provide them with. You do this all day, every day. So when you're saying these things, these aren't just, I mean, I just want to clarify for people watching this, this isn't just, I guess, your opinion. This is after years of $4 billion of funding. I mean, you've seen this. This is the most pragmatic way to do it.
Yeah, I mean, these are the things that we've seen to be successful. Now, they're not the only ways.
Okay.
But we've definitely seen it over a period of time, and believe that these are ways that entrepreneurs can help to continue to build value in their businesses.
Now, having worked with 10,000, you probably start to see some misconceptions. You probably start to see some things where most business owners think this, but really it's this. What's the most common maybe misconception that you see when you sit down with a business owner when it comes to evaluating or coming up with the true value of their business? What's the most common misconceptions that you see?
The top line revenue somehow translates into value. So for example, if I'm a Subway sandwich store and I am producing $1,000 a day in revenues on average, that somehow my business is worth about, $350,000.
So they're basically saying because the top line value is this, I believe my value should be this. And you're saying the top line doesn't even matter?
The top line, I mean, it certainly plays a part in it, but again, I think that the main things that people look at are, one, what's the gross margins? When you take the cost of goods, out of my the revenue that's being generated, that's an important number. The bottom line number, the net income or EBITDA, those are important numbers. But at the end of the day, where you really get I would say the acceleration on that value is whether you're growing at a fast clip or not.
Because a lot of people watching this, I feel like we all come at it from different. Some people watching this maybe know all the terms. Some people don't. Can you explain what EBITDA means to the average person who maybe doesn't know what that term is?
Yeah. So EBITDA is the earnings before interest, taxes, depreciation and amortization. So these are different accounting opportunities that small businesses have that will factor into the ultimate net income number, but the EBITDA is a number that sits right above that.
Okay. So if you're watching this, we'll put the data up on the screen here so you can take some notes on that. That's a term that people throw around quite a bit in the financing world there.
Yeah.
So David, if I'm watching this and I got super motivated and I went out and I said, okay, I'm going to do some comps. I'm listening to what David has said. I've got comps. Now I come back and I find out I thought my business was worth $1 million and it's only worth $100,000. What are some things I could do? I know it's kind of a broad question, but what are some things I could do over a 12-month window of time to really get the value of my business out there?
Yeah, so I think if I was to go out to the marketplace and take that CMA, that comparative market analysis, and that data was not what I thought it would be or where I want it to be, then at that point, I would probably be compelled to go out and actually get a formal business valuation, because the thing with the CMA is it's going to give you very general information.
Okay.
A business valuation is going to help you understand more about your business and where there are things that are adding value and things that are not. And oftentimes a business value analyst or a business valuation expert will give you ideas as to how you can drive value. Ultimately, it's going to come down to how can I drive more profit or how can I grow at a faster clip. And hopefully that individual that you work with will help you identify different strategies to do so.
So grow the total amount of the actual rate at which you're growing, and also look to increase the profitability.
Yep.
Now I know that seems simple. However, and I know a lot of people watch this. I know I was in that boat for years, where I had a business and I knew there were some tough decisions I needed to make, but I didn't want to make them because of, it could be an emotional reason, it could be, a psychological reason, it could be whatever. But what are the reasons that you see a lot of times with businesses where they don't make the tough decisions? What are some that you see all the time?
Well, the most common is obviously with labor.
Okay.
When we're talking about small businesses, right? When we started Guidant, it was two guys. It was me and a business partner and a laptop, right? And as we grew, we started bringing in people that we knew, people that we could trust, that we thought would do a good job. That worked out very well for us. But I see oftentimes with small businesses them hiring family and friends and creating this fun environment for them to work together and be with those people more often. But unfortunately, it's harder to deal with some of those performance issues. And oftentimes the issue isn't that the business model isn't sound and that it can't grow at a faster clip or be more profitable, but it's got the wrong people in the wrong roles.
Okay. So if you're watching this as an action step, I encourage you to look at your business and ask yourself, are you being as profitable as you can be? And if you're not, maybe what are some tough decisions you need to make? You need to ask yourself, what changes do I need to make in my business to increase the profitability? And, I think that's just, anybody can do that, whether you're looking to sell your business or not. I mean, everyone needs to make those tough decisions.
Absolutely. And the other thing that I would say is that our expenses are something that we should revisit every single year. I think as a small business owner, we're chief cook, we're bottle washer, we're everyone at all times. And because of that, some of those kind of more mundane tasks or the things that don't seem as fun or are non-sexy innovations get left behind. So one thing that I would certainly would consider is, when we first go into business, we set up our merchant account, we find our accountant, we figure out which CRM tool we're going to use to manage our customer relations. But we don't often go back and revisit, are these the right tools? Are we getting the right pricing? Is it renegotiable? And they often are. And so what a lot of times we'll see is people rush to go into business and they don't do as much research around the vendors that support them in their business. But they never go back and revisit those either. So
having an annual review is a healthy idea.
Absolutely. And there's even companies out there that will do those reviews for you and charge you nothing, and all they expect is a small piece of the savings that they get you. Absolutely.
Really? If I was going to try to find that kind of company, would I just Google companies that...
Expense reduction. That's what you want. Expense reduction analysts or expense reduction companies. Yeah.
That right there might be worth the price of admission. That's a good one. So these companies will go do all the work for you. And if, let's say, they save you $500,000 a year, they'll just take a percentage of the $500,000 they save you.
That's right.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, I have one final question. It's a little bit controversial. I know that you're a great American and a very solid basketball player, is my understanding. So I have to ask you this. We're here in Seattle, where the team obviously has moved to Oklahoma City, and we're sorry about that. But who was the best Seattle Supersonic of all time in your mind?
All time? Top names, Jack Sikma, Freddie Brown, and Gary Payton come to mind. I'm going to go with Gary Payton.
Gary Payton, the glove. All right. Hey, thank you, my friend. I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
JT, do you know what time it is?
4:10.
It's Tebow time in Tulsa, Jerusalem, baby. Tim Tebow is coming to Tulsa, Oklahoma. During the month of Christmas, December 5th and 6th, 2024, Tim Tebow is coming to Tulsa, Oklahoma in the 2-day interactive Thrivetime Show Business Growth Workshop. Yes, folks, put it in your calendar. This December, the month of Christmas, December 5th and 6th, Tim Tebow is coming to Tulsa, Oklahoma in the Thrivetime Show 2-day interactive business growth workshop. We've been doing business conferences here since 2005. I've been hosting business conferences since 2005. What year were you born?
1995.
Dude, I've been hosting business conferences since you were 10 years old. And a lot of people, have followed Tim Tebow's football career on the field and off the field. And off the field, the guy's been just as successful as he has been on the field. Now, the big question is, JT, how does he do it?
Well, they're going to have to come and find out, because I don't know.
Well, I'm just saying, Tim Tebow's going to teach us how he organizes his day, how he organizes his life, how he's proactive with his faith, his family, his finances. He's going to walk us through his mindset that he brings into the gym, into business. It is going to be a blasty blast in Tulsa, Jerusalem.
Folks, I'm telling you, if you want to learn branding, you want to learn marketing, you want to learn search engine optimization, you want to learn social media marketing, that's what we teach at the Thrivetime Show 2-day interactive workshop. If you want to learn accounting, you want to learn sales systems, you want to learn how to build a linear workflow, you want to learn how to franchise your business, that is what we teach at the 2-day interactive Thrivetime Show business workshop. Over the years, we've had the opportunity to feature Michael Levine, the PR consultant of choice for Nike, for Prince, for Michael Jackson. We've had the top PR consultant in the history of the planet has spoken at the Thrivetime Show workshops. We've had Jill Donovan, the founder of RusticCuff.com, a company that creates apparel worn by celebrities all throughout the world. Jill Donovan, the founder of RusticCuff.com, has spoken at the 2-day interactive Thrivetime Show business workshops. We have the man who's responsible for turning around Harley Davidson, a man by the name of Ken Schmidt. He has spoken at the Thrivetime Show 2-day interactive business workshops. Folks, I'm telling you, these events are going to teach you what you need to know to start and grow a successful business. And the way we price the events, the way we do these events, is you can pay $250 for a ticket or whatever price price that you can afford. What? Yes, we've designed these events to be affordable for you, and we want to see you live and in person at the 2-day interactive December 5th and 6th Thrivetime Show Business Workshop. Everything that you need to succeed will be taught at the 2-day interactive Thrivetime Show Business Workshop, December 5th and 6th in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And the way we do these events is we teach for 30 minutes, and then we open it up for a question and answer session so that wonderful people like you can have your questions answered. Yes, we teach for 30 minutes, and then we open it up for a 15-minute question and answer session. It's interactive. It's 2 days. It's in Tulsa, Oklahoma. We've been doing these events since 2005, and I'm telling you, folks, it's going to blow your mind. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the Thrivetime Show 2-day interactive business workshop is America's highest rated and most reviewed business workshop. See the thousands of video testimonials from real people just like you who've been able to build multi-million-dollar companies. Watch those testimonials today at thrivetimeshow.com. Simply by clicking on the testimonials button right there at thrivetimeshow.com, you're going to see thousands of people just like you who've been able to go from just surviving to thriving. Whoa. Each and every day, we're going to add more and more speakers to this all-star lineup, but I encourage everybody out there today, get those tickets today. Go to thrivetimeshow.com. Again, that's thrivetimeshow.com. And some people might be saying, well, how do I do it? What do I do? How does it work? You just go to thrivetimeshow.com. Let's go there now. We're feeling the flow. We're going to thrivetimeshow.com. Again, you just go to thrivetimeshow.com. You click on the business conferences button, and you click on the request tickets button right there. The way I do our conferences is we tell people it's $250 to get a ticket.
Yep.
Or whatever price that you can afford. And the reason why I do that is I grew up without money. JT, you're in the process of building a super successful company. Did you start out with $1 million in the bank account?
No, I did not. Nope, did not get any loans, nothing like that. Did not get an inheritance from parents or anything like that. I had to work for it, and I'm super grateful. I came to a business conference. That's actually how I met you, met Peter Taunton. I met all these people.
So if you're out there today and you want to come to our workshop, again, you just got to go to thrivetimeshow.com. You might say, well, who's speaking? We already covered that. You might say, where's it going to be? It's going to be in Tulsa, Jerusalem, Oklahoma. And so it says Tulsa, Jerusalem. I'm really trying to rebrand Tulsa as Tulsa, Jerusalem, sort of like the Jerusalem of America. But if you type in Thrivetime Show and Jinx, you can get a sneak peek or a look at our office facility. This is what it looks like. This is where you're headed. It's going to be a blasty blast. You can look inside, see the facility. We're going to have hundreds of entrepreneurs here. It is going to be packed. Now, for this particular event, folks, the seating is always limited because my facility isn't a limitless convention center. You're coming to my actual home office, and so it's going to be packed. Who? You're going to come. Who? You? I'm talking to you. You can just get your tickets right now at thrivetimeshow.com. And again, you can name your price. We tell people it's $250 or whatever price you can afford. And we do have some select VIP tickets, which gives you an access to meet some of the speakers and those sorts of things. And those tickets are $500. It's a 2-day interactive business workshop, over 20 hours of business training. We're going to give you a copy of my newest book, The Millionaire's Guide to Becoming Sustainably Rich. You're going to leave with a workbook. You're going to leave with everything you need to know to start and grow a super successful company. It's practical, it's actionable, and it's Tebow time right here in Tulsa, Jerusalem. Get those tickets today at thrivetimeshow.com. Again, that's thrivetimeshow.com.
Hello, I'm Michael Levine, and I'm talking to you right now from the center of Hollywood, California, where I have represented over the last 35 years 58 Academy Award winners, 34 Grammy Award winners, 43 New York Times bestsellers. I've represented a lot of major stars, and I've worked with a lot of major companies. And I think I've learned a few things about what makes them work and what makes them not work. Now, why would a man living in Hollywood, California, in the beautiful sunny weather of LA, come to Tulsa? Because last year I did it, and it was damn exciting. Clay Clark has put together an exceptional presentation, really life-changing, and I'm looking forward to seeing you then. I'm Michael Levine. I'll see you in Tulsa.
Thrivetime Show 2-day interactive business workshops are the world's highest rated and most reviewed business workshops because we teach you what you need to know to grow.
You can learn the proven 13-point business systems that Dr. Zellner and I have used over and over to start and grow successful companies. I mean, we get into the specific steps on what you need to do to optimize your website. We're going to teach you how to fix your conversion rate. We're going to teach you how to do a social media marketing campaign that works. How do you raise capital? How do you get a small business loan? We teach you everything you need to know here during a 2-day, 15-hour workshop. It's all here for you. You work every day in your business, but for 2 days you can escape and work on your business and build these proven systems so now you can have a successful company that will produce both the time freedom and the financial freedom that you deserve. You're going to leave energized, motivated, but you're also going to leave empowered. The reason why I've built these workshops is because as an entrepreneur, I always wish that I had this. And because there wasn't anything like this, I would go to these motivational seminars, no money down, real estate, Ponzi scheme, get motivated seminars, and they would never teach me anything. It was like you went there and you paid for the big chocolate Easter bunny, but inside of it, it was a hollow nothingness. And I wanted the knowledge, and they're like, oh, but we'll teach you the knowledge after our next workshop. And the great thing is we have nothing to upsell. At every workshop, we teach you what you need to know. There's no one in the back of the room trying to sell you some next big get-rich-quick, walk-on-hot-coals product. It's literally, we teach you the brass tacks, the specific stuff that you need to know to learn how to start and grow a business. And I encourage you to not believe what I'm saying, and I want you to Google the Z66 auto auction. I want you to Google elephant in the room. Look at Robert Zellner and Associates. Look them up and say, are they successful because they're geniuses, or are they successful because they have a proven system? When you do that research, you will discover that the same systems that we use in our own business can be used in your business. Come to Tulsa, book a ticket, and I guarantee you it's going to be the best business workshop ever, and we'll even give you your money back if you don't love it. We've built this facility for you, and we're excited to see you.
And now you may be thinking, what does it actually cost to attend an in-person 2-day interactive Thrivetime Show business workshop? Well, good news. The tickets are $250 or whatever price that you can afford. What? Yes, they're $250 or whatever price you can afford. I grew up without money, and I know what it's like to live without money. So if you're out there today and you want to attend our in-person 2-day interactive business workshop, all you got to do is go to thrivetimeshow.com to request those tickets. And if you can't afford $250, we have scholarship pricing available to make it affordable for you.
I learned at the Academy, Kings Point in New York. Acta non verba. Watch what a person does, not what they say.
Whoa. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Robert Kiyosaki, the Rich Dad Radio Show. Today I'm broadcasting from Phoenix, Arizona, not Scottsdale, Arizona. They're close, but they're completely different worlds. And we have a special guest today. Definition of intelligence is if you agree with me, you're intelligent. And so this gentleman is very intelligent. I've done this show before also, but very seldom do you find somebody who lines up on all counts. And it's a Mr. Clay Clark. He's a friend of a good friend, Eric Trump. But we're also talking about money, bricks, and how screwed up the world can get in a few and a half hour. So Clay Clark is a very intelligent man, and there's so many ways we could take this thing. But I thought, since you and Eric are close, Trump, what were you saying about what Trump can't, what Donald, who's my age, and I can say or cannot say?
First of all, I have to honor you, sir. I want to show you what I did to one of your books here. There's a guy by the name of Jeremy Thorne, who was my boss at the time. I was 19 years old, working at Faith Highway. I had a job at Applebee's, Target, and DirecTV. And he said, have you read this book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad? And I said, no. And my father, may he rest in peace, he didn't know these financial principles. So I started reading all of your books and really devouring your books. And I went from being an employee to self-employed to the business owner to the investor. And I owe a lot of that to you. And I just wanted to take a moment to tell you thank you so much for allowing me to achieve success. And then I'll tell you all about Eric Trump. But I just want to tell you thank you, sir, for changing my life.
But not only that, Clay, thank you, but you become an influencer. More than anything else, you've evolved into an influencer where your word has more and more power. So that's why I congratulate you on becoming. Because as you know, there's a lot of fake influencers out there, too, or bad influencers.
Yeah.
So anyway, I'm glad you and I agree so much. And thanks for reading my books.
Yeah.
That's the greatest thrill for me today. Not a thrill, but recognition is when people, young men especially, come up and say, I read your book, changed my life. I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this.
I learned at the Academy, Kings Point in New York. Acta non verba. Watch what a person does, not what they say.